All right, guys. Hi. Welcome to Empowered with Gina back at ZA Ranch Podcast Studio here in the barn. I have my dear friend Chloé Potter of Glo Events here with me today.
Hi.
Hello, friend.
Thank you again for inviting me. This is too cool. Too fun.
I love that you're here. So Chloe's here because she is a woman in business, doing it all, a mom, a wife, very full life, and winning and scaling and growing her business the best way she knows how. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of alignment. And so I wanted to just share with everyone your story, how you're doing it, and, show how relatable we all are.
Yeah.
First thing, though, 3 adjectives to describe you.
Okay. I would say outgoing, like a people person.
Yeah.
I would say positive, and oh gosh, this is hard.
I know, isn't it good?
I would say confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
In Mandeville. I'm from New Orleans,
okay.
but Mandeville, right outside Covington, where we're at now. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in a neighborhood that my parents still live in. In fact, when I came back to the area after going away for college and work and stuff, I bought a house in the same neighborhood. So lived down the street from them up until recently when I got remarried. And now I'm just one neighborhood away.
I mean,
so
that's wonderful.
Small town vibes.
It's so good for the family. Yeah. And you. Okay, so you start here, you're still here. What was your education like? Where did you go?
Yeah.
What did you initially do? Because you didn't always do events, or did you?
So I went to LSU, and which I
know
Tigers. Mike did too. Yes,
Go Tigers. We know to say that.
And I actually really struggled there. I was 17 when I went, and I don't think I had the maturity to see how important that was. Go a little wild at LSU.
I've heard.
It's a big school, and there's a lot of, exciting things to do. So I was there for 5 years instead of 4, and I had wanted to go to be an attorney, actually.
Really?
And go to law school, and that I just knew that I was not ready for more school. And I was ready to make money and get into the workforce, and I had worked all through high school and college in the hospitality industry. So I've kind of always had roots there. Mm-hmm. I have a deep passion for food and drinks and, that creative side of me. So I left LSU and kind of tried a few different jobs. And I saw, when I was at LSU, I had done some event planning for a little small venue and restaurant. And I loved it. So I saw an ad for a job doing events when I got out of college, and I pretty much dove right in. Okay. And so, I've been doing it ever since because it was just so fun. I never felt like I had a job.
Interesting.
Which is, I feel so lucky for that.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the goal.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So we'll talk more professionally right now. How many kids do you have?
So I have 5 total.
Oh.
A stepdaughter who I've raised and still very close to from my previous marriage. And then my husband has 13-year-old twins, boy and girl. I have a 10-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter.
So busy.
Lots of kids around me.
Right. And part of this podcast, I know a lot of our audience are women similarly situated. Either they are employees or they're business owners or they're at some stage in the game or thinking about maybe leaving employment and starting a business. They're all over the place, and it's wonderful. Part of why I highlight this, because it's not all girl boss, she boss, boss babe. There is that part, but there is navigating this beautifully imperfect journey, which is keeping yourself together first. I always believe it. You have to, look, you're clearly fit. And that's one thing about you. When I first met you, I was like, okay, she has a body that won't quit. But it's one of those bodies that it's earned. You work out. I see those muscles.
Yeah.
That is not surgically created.
It's my little time for myself. And, I get so many good chemicals and going through my body when I work out. So
even though you don't feel like it?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I do it so regularly that is a part of my life where when I miss, I feel bad.
Yeah.
And I love the workouts that I do. So I look I look forward to it every morning. And I have some girls that go with me and we're texting like burn 5:30 in the morning, whatever. And we plan our little week together. So I get to do, different workouts with different friends, and we love it.
So you take care of yourself first and foremost, because there's no excuse, right? You just wake up early. The kids aren't awake at 5.
No.
They are not. So there's no excuse that the kids are stopping you, and you get it done. Being a mom, growing your business, not just having a business, but growing it. Yeah. And I know since we've known each other, you've made some different moves and you're continuing to scale. Let's talk about this now. How do you balance it all, that whole conversation?
It's interesting because I think like so many women and stories of starting businesses, mine came from one where like the trauma was there first, and out of my divorce, when I was able to be less distracted with that, and that I was able to start my business. And I did it partly because of a need of wanting to make additional income, having to support, being a single mom, needing to support the 3 children that I had at the time, and not having any assistance. And it turned into something amazing for me. But it was kind of that need and want, and having that clarity to see that I was able and capable, and build back my confidence up outside of the divorce and everything, that I was able to do that. What's funny is I then went on a track of grow, say yes to everything. Yeah. And all of a sudden, however many years later, I'm completely burnt out, and you're not seeing your children, you're not present because you're juggling so many things. And, at that time, I had left my regular job to just do Glo because it was booming and doing well. And I was like, okay, I got to keep growing. I got to make up that income from my job that I left. And I actually went to a retreat to grow my business and better myself and better my business, where I realized that it was okay to just be and to be content. And it's when I realized that like it was okay to not want to always be doing the next thing in business, that some of it had to be personal. And I realized at that retreat to grow my business that wasn't actually what I wanted or where I was finding joy. And I was craving to be more present in my everyday and with my children and with my relationship with my new husband. And I was just craving that time back. And so I kind of let go of that, like, I've got to be doing this.
The grind mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. And was just knowing that, like, it's going to be okay. And even if I don't make up that extra income, I've always made it work. I'll figure it out. It's no big deal. And so, like, letting myself accept the fact that I didn't want that anymore and I wanted something different, that was so hard. That was really hard. Like, I felt guilty about it.
Totally. And it probably felt super scary too, because yes, you can figure it out, but at the same time, you're just like, but what if I don't get the next gig?
Exactly.
There's bills, there's school, there's
so scary
groceries, there's life.
Yeah.
So you and I have talked, about the divorce. Right. You and I have each gone through a divorce, and divorces, they are what they are. They're difficult. They can be difficult. And you mentioned the trauma that you had gone through because of it. And there are a lot of people out there that either are divorced or thinking about it or super scared to do it. Understandably, we get it. Yeah. But there's life after the divorce.
Oh my God. And it is.
But when you were going through it, you could not even see that light.
It's so hard to see.
You can't, you don't feel it. Yeah. It's like the world is crushing on you. It can be, not all the time. Yeah. And you, I'm sure, would never even think that you'd be sitting where you are now. Like whole new life. Oh. Whole new improved life. Yeah. But at that moment, in those moments, did you feel that? Did you even think that was possible?
No. So I was married to an addict, a drug and alcohol addict for 10 years. And we don't talk about it enough, but everyone knows someone in their life that they care about that's in the thick of addiction.
Absolutely.
And that was so hard. And, again, back to the guilt.
Yeah.
Here you are going to leave this person in sickness, and getting the strength to know that that's what you need to do for yourself and for your children.
That's right.
Is so hard. And it's not like you separate and life is better.
No.
There's so much that happens during that time where you're divorcing, and it could be a year afterwards or more. But once you kind of get over that hump, it gets so much easier and so much better. And then you're like, oh my gosh, why did I not do this sooner?
Isn't that something? Yeah, there's power in it, but you had to go through that.
Oh yeah.
You have to jump and you have to rip that Band-Aid off and go through it, because had you not, had I not, had others not, whoa,
yeah,
would we be?
Yeah, so it was actually Christmas Day, 2017. So coming up close to that time where those little emotions start bubbling back up, and where I finally, had decided that I was done. And oh my gosh, there were so many worse things that had happened over the years when you're, with an addict, where you're wondering, why wasn't that my last straw? Why wasn't that my breaking point? And for some reason, that Christmas Day, he didn't get up for Christmas. He was, when you deal with someone who's an addict, I think the worst part than even the drug use sometimes is the withdrawal that they go through and the sickness that they get. And he was really deep in withdrawal on Christmas Day. And I did, Santa and Christmas by myself with the kids. Little kids. They're all dying to see, their gifts and go under the tree. And he had actually asked me to wait and hold off and not let them go. Well, come 1:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Then his family showed up for dinner, and I was like, I had made filet mignon and creamed spinach and potatoes au gratin, all these things. And they get there and they're like, oh, we already ate. And I'm like, what? Well, he had been texting them saying don't come, we're not eating or whatever. So it was that day. I don't know why it was that moment. Last straw. Cause like I said, there were so many worse things, but I just knew it. I just knew then that was it for real.
And so you decide to leave with the little kids, you're now a single mom. And through that traumatic experience, you used it as fuel.
Yeah.
You used it as
I thought I was going to lose my house that I loved so much, in my childhood neighborhood. And I always knew I wanted to do Glo, somewhere in there. Cause I love this industry so much. But I wanted to keep my house and I needed to make some kind of additional income. And I was like, if I could just make $1,000 extra a month, that was my little goal.
Really?
Just an extra $12,000 a year. I'll be able to stay in this house and raise my kids here and be by my parents and, we'll be fine. And I will never forget my first client who gave me $1,000 to design and decorate and help her with her event. And it was with that $1,000 I bought as much inventory as I could. And that was enough to take the next event and the next event and the next event and just go from there. And so I made $50,000 that first year instead of 12. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I doubled it and tripled it and just kept going from there. And so it was like such a blessing.
So because of necessity.
Exactly.
You were forced to create this
opportunity. I was forced to dive in, and that thing I always wanted to do, it was forced out of me to go ahead and do it.
Now was the time.
Yeah. And that gave me so much confidence that I had lost through being married to an addict and the divorce itself. It gave me back that confidence.
True, the power.
Yeah.
So tell me what Glo is, what it started as, and what is it today?
Yeah. So it's always been a design service, or I would say, it started as more of I'm offering candles for your event. Cause in the wedding industry, you cannot have an event without candles. And for me, candles have a special place in my heart. When I was a child, my mom would clean the house and she would light her candles. And she was happy, which meant we were all happy. It was peaceful and calm. And so I've always loved that. ambiance that they give you and that feeling, that warmth feeling. And then it turned into like a design company where I work with people in design. And I do coordinating and planning as well, but only for certain clients if the fit is right, which you've been one of them. So, and I have a few other ones that I'll do, but I'm actually not in the business. I try not to be in the business of planning and coordinating.
Right.
I like my
unless
niche.
they come begging.
Unless
Like,
Gina
please,
needs it.
please.
Yes. But yeah, so I always knew I didn't want to be a wedding or an event planner again, even though I was doing it as my job.
Right.
I loved other aspects of the job, the creative side and the artistic side and the sales side, and also like the client relationship side is my favorite part. So,
and when you got here today, we were talking about the culture of Louisiana in particular, which is something that was very new to me, having been born and raised in Los Angeles, a very different culture,
right?
Very big city versus smaller city. I came in with that mentality, like, oh, this is a small town, a small sleepy town,
right.
Covington, Louisiana.
Yeah, where is that?
Where is that? I say Louisiana, everyone's like, oh, Mardi Gras, New Orleans.
Right.
I'm like, no, wrong, no. I'm an hour north of that. So I had no idea. It is its own universe with its intense culture, like intense culture of festivities and
oh my gosh, yeah.
parties and get-togethers. And this isn't like come over in your sweats and let's get together in my backyard.
No, yeah. I mean,
y'all do parties. You all have parties.
If there's a place to be in the hospitality industry and the event industry, this is definitely it.
It's phenomenal.
Yes. There's kind of a stigma around working in hospitality, where, maybe it's just a job and not a career. In fact, that's one of my goals is to like break that stigma of like being in the hospitality industry isn't, thought upon greatly or whatever. But if you're in Louisiana, I mean, none of this happens without people like me and the people that I work with, because there is always something going on, something to do. And I think we just love to celebrate everything.
Everything. Like everything, not the football games, the
Oh my
events, and you have so many events. And I mean it, like check out her page. The events you do are just top notch. And I know you're not an event planner and you design them, but you're related to it. And everything you do, it's just you touch and it's so intentional and it's so thought out and the attention to detail. And really, you go to these events and everyone gets dolled up.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah.
And then talk about Mardi Gras for those like me out there. It's not lift up your top and show your boobs for beads.
No.
It is not that. Get that image out of your head.
And it starts way before Mardi Gras Day.
It's a year.
It's a year. And for people visiting and the parades, they start, a month out or so. But yeah, if you're in a parade and you're in a crew,
what's a crew? Because I didn't know what that was.
So a crew is the people who make up the parade. They ride the floats and throw the beads and the stuff, they are, which I am now, my first time, lived here my whole life. Okay. Never have ridden in a parade.
Really?
Riding in Eve, which is just a small little, I say small, but a local parade in the Mandeville area.
Okay.
So,
and it's a big deal, right? To be a part of a crew.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you have all these events. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's definitely expensive, because you pay to be in the parade and then you have to get all this stuff to throw at the parade. So just depending on how much stuff you're willing to buy and want to throw,
And it's not just the parade though, like leading up to the parade, like
yes,
you said,
you have
months,
all the different events and
months in advance. You have event, like what, why?
Yeah.
Like really, this is such an interesting concept for me because we have parties and that's it.
Yes. Nope. I know.
So Mardi Gras, you have these parties.
Well, it's a network, and I mean, a lot of women actually going back to women in business, and people in general, but this parade is women specific. It's only women. A lot of us do it to network and to make new relationships, business and personal. And I mean, I will say it's definitely helped me, with connections and meeting the right people and, always being pulled for, I got to talk to you about this event. I need to talk to you about that event. Just being at the events. You're talking about the next event. That's how we do around here. We are talking about our next meal at our meal that we're having currently. That's just how we are.
Well, I've seen it and I love it
Yeah.
because I love eating and I love
I love
parties.
eating.
So this works for me.
That's why we get along so
I
good.
know. So for those listening who maybe relate to your story some way, somehow, and they want to take that jump, they make that move, but there's those reasons or those things, what advice can you give them?
I think really going inside and finding the things that may be holding you back from feeling that confidence. You have to do healing and self-work. And you
Is
have
that
to be,
easy?
No, not at all. I mean, it takes time and you have to be willing to do it. You have to be insightful enough to do it. And not everybody can, but that's the advice that I give. I have some people that work for me and maybe lack some of that confidence. And I tell them, I'm like, I have more confidence in you than you have in you. And that's a problem. You are going to have to figure out, what is holding you back and what's causing you to feel insecure about whatever,
Because the outside is not going to solve it for you.
No.
Getting that purse, getting that car, finding that man or that partner or whatever,
Right.
they ain't going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You have to lean inward.
Yep.
Okay, so Glo today, where is it going? Where is it going next?
So like I said, I'm really in this place of like organic business. When things are, I'm fortunate enough to have things come to me and I don't have to be constantly seeking. And it's a really great place in my life for that because I am a newlywed, sort of. I have 4 children. And my parents are getting older. So I really want to be present and available and engaged with my personal life too. So it's unbelievable that I have the freedom to build my business around my life, which I never thought that I would always thought I would be 9 to 5, like clocking in.
Most
that whole
people
thing.
do. We were never taught that you can actually create a business, which gives you the freedom.
Absolutely. My parents, like one of the best moments that I've had since I started my business is having that acknowledgement from my parents that were like, gosh, you really created this life around you and your kid of what you wanted. And I watched my parents both work so hard, so many hours, miss out on so many things. Almost like when I started living my life this way, they almost were not looked down upon, but they were like, wait, you're not supposed to.
Of course.
You're supposed to be working right now. Like, why aren't you working? Whatever. And then they're like, wow, I get it now. Like, good for you. And that was really special for that acknowledgement from them.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, friend, I appreciate you coming. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. Do you do design across the country, or how can people find you?
Yeah, I'll go wherever. I mainly stay local to New Orleans, the surrounding area, and like the Gulf Coast. But I am open to going wherever. Would love to work with people from everywhere.
Good. So how can they find you?
So I have my Instagram and Facebook. It's Glo Events by Chloe. And
GLO, no W.
GLO, no W. Yep.
Glo
and
Events.
yeah.
Okay, and we're going to put it in the caption. So reach out to her. Even if you have questions or just want to pick her brain about stuff, she's a wealth of knowledge. So my friend, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you. Thank you for designing our life.
Yes.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.